Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, peace and blessings, grand rising. Welcome to the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. And we got a special show planned today. We're going to talk about love. Love, because it's so important right now. So sit back, get your coffee, get your tea, and tune in.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided thee right, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs. Add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your Roku TV lineup and catch up on past episodes of all your favorite Mo Today shows.
People who are biting their fingers in fear that they might lose their jobs. But there are few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting to be cut. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it. They're not afraid about tomorrow because of how they see themselves, because of what they feel that they deserve, because of what they feel that they can create for themselves. Because these people have decided as they look at the future, as they look at themselves, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way for me to begin to create a way out of no way. And when you have that kind of consciousness, when you have that kind of spirit, nothing can stop you. Nothing. What would your life be like as you look toward the future if you decided, I'm not going to allow my fears to stop me? What would your life be like? What would your future be like if you decided to want that which you desire so strongly that it prepares you past your fears, that you experience the fear, as the one book says, feel the fear and do it anyway? What would your life be like? And I'm saying to you that all of us who have been entombed by fear have the capacity to resurrect ourselves. When you are not filling your life with the things that you are capable of doing, see, we all have some stuff that we've been given. And I don't think that it's optional for us to sit on what we have. See, if you're sitting on what you have, what you've been given, and I think everybody's been given something to bring to the planet, that only you can do that. Only you can perform that. Only you can initiate that activity. And if you don't do that, if you're not filling in your life with your life work or your mission, then there are gaps in your life. And what we do when we're not living out our true identity, we begin to fill the gaps. We fill the holes with garbage, alcohol, drugs, worry, self-destructive behavior. So when you begin to look at your life and you know that you're not doing what you can do because you have allowed yourself to be held captive by your fears. Now, when you don't have a true appreciation and acceptance for who you are, and you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, what happens in the process is that you begin to abuse yourself. You begin to sabotage your life. You begin to sabotage your dreams. You begin to unconsciously work against yourself. You become your own worst enemy. So what do you do about that? Well, you begin to realize that your dream and your gifts have so much meaning and so much value for you till your hunger for them will begin to push you past the fear. Your hunger to have them will give you a special drive. As you work on yourself, as you begin to acknowledge your true identity, the true power that you have, the true capacity you have to bring about change, the miracle working power that you have within yourself to do the things that you want to do. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Murphy's Law will be knocking at your door. Why? I don't know why. That's called life. And you have to deal with it. Sometimes your life will be in a slump. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
That was an earful, wasn't it? Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak again. Welcome, welcome to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. I'm excited this morning. It's been an early morning for me. Got up, did my prayers, did some reading, and I usually spend about 2 hours studying during Ramadan. So I still have that to do after I get off of here with you all. But I'm just excited to be here today and just to share, because what's important is what happens is there's all this stimuli that comes to us throughout the day. And sometimes our moods go up and down. And so you want to be really conscious of those moods and those triggers and things like that, so that you're always focusing and saying, how do I feel at this moment? And take yourself right out of that and say, okay, I feel good. I feel good. And listening to that Les Brown motivation a few minutes ago, it talked about things happening and the vicissitudes of life and how sometimes we get down and sometimes we become so afraid that what we're afraid of becomes a God in our life. And we don't even know what it is. We're just going, I'm just, you don't even really consciously know that you're nervous or afraid or that you're paralyzed. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today because there's a delicate balance, right? Between moving and working towards your desires and knowing and doing them and making them a must. And then there's making a God out of those desires and ultimately a God out of the fear that those desires won't be fulfilled. So there's a delicate balance, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So welcome to you all in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Lamont. Good morning. Wa alaikum salam, sir. Ramadan Kareem. Who else we got? Sister Leisha. Wa alaikum salam. Ramadan Mubarak, ma'am. We got Brother Carlos from Detroit. Wa alaikum salam. Sister Alita from Chi-Town. Wa alaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem. Saturday blessings. Sister Leisha said that was perfect. Praise be to Allah. You know, because I'm going to tell you, when you're fasting, things start to pop up, right? You know, Allah is moving you and cleaning stuff out, and things really, really start to pop up. And I'll tell you all something. I know that a lot of cultures kind of see the fast and stuff slightly different. And sometimes cultural differences or cultural nuances, you know, creep into religion. But here's a technique that I think is really good. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to eat one meal a day. And in eating one meal a day, and he didn't go into all of this, but if you really begin to study it, eating one meal a day, of course, you give your digestive tract a rest, right? Because sometimes what we do is we eat right before we go to bed, and then we get up and we eat again. And so your digestive tract doesn't get a chance to rest. And your solar plexus, you can't hear your solar plexus on a subconscious level because you're so busy digesting. So this is why your intuition oftentimes gets stronger when you fast. But what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was telling us with one meal a day is that we can activate that solar plexus with just that eating habit. So if you wait, generally we wait between 4 and 6, but it's Ramadan, so we wait till after 7 to eat something, then your solar plexus becomes more vibrant and louder to you than the digestion. And so it's interesting how the body sends signals to the mind and to the heart and to the, you know, to your third eye, to your pineal gland. And digesting all day oftentimes prevents you from hearing those signals. In addition to that, by going that amount of time that he told us and eating the one meal a day, you actually activate your own stem cells. So this is why oftentimes when you see people who come into the nation, not only because we're cleaning up all the preservatives, I mean, the first thing we get is that list, right, of ingredients that of things we shouldn't be eating, and staying away from fake foods and processed foods and low margin foods and things like that. I always tell people there's no way in many cases that you can serve a whole $2 meal, a lot, unless it's fake food a lot of times, because you guys know that. But what happens is you're activating those stem cells. Your own body has its own stem cells that live in your bone marrow. I'm not talking about embryonic stem cells. I'm talking about your stem cells that live in your bone marrow that get activated sort of as a result of stress or friction. And so by not eating, the body then says, okay, let me go get some of this nutrient stuff from the bones and spread that throughout the body. Well, what does that do? The stem cells rejuvenate your skin, your joints. It helps you manage your weight, helps you lose weight, helps you look younger, and almost in a sense starts to turn back time. And I know sometimes it's hard. That's why we also, the first and second day of the month, we also fast on those days. And so that will also help you to kind of reset. Like if you messed up during the month with your one meal a day, you can then say, all right, let me do the first and second. And so there's a lot of things that it's a balance, right? So I'll tell you something that I was doing to myself that I didn't really realize I was doing. I was, especially when I was in the healthcare space, I was under a tremendous amount of pressure and just functioning stress that I was under because it's a whole institution that we were building and running, and we had all these people's lives in our hands. So it was really, really, really stressful and really tough, especially if you want to do it right. Because what happens oftentimes in healthcare, a lot of people just check out. They just go, you know what, I'm good. I ain't going to do it. So in this case, being under that amount of stress, I then was doing crazy strenuous workouts like CrossFit at the top level, boot camps and Tough Mudders, which I still love, but I was doing it like 3 and 4 times a week. And so all of that stress, the mental stress, the physical stress was, I think, breaking down my body and causing my central nervous system to just constantly be on alert and never get a break. Because then when you're doing that kind of workout, you got to eat a little bit more. Well, I'm not a real big eater. So I wasn't balancing it out with the nutrition, and my body just started holding on to everything that it could get because I was killing it. And so what I later learned to do, well, I had some lifestyle changes as well, is to have more balance and to just be gentler and kinder to my body. So I still work out every day, but I think about workouts that improve my lymphatic system and my mental state, and a lot more stretching. And I used to be really big into Bikram yoga. And since the pandemic, I've been afraid to go back to Bikram, but I still do that, the stretching. And I'll tell you something else that's really powerful, a lot of people don't realize, is swimming and walking. Swimming, walking can be, I remember one time me and my brother went hiking and I thought, no, it's just walking, it ain't nothing. That thing wasn't no joke. We was up in the Fremont Hills, and I think I couldn't walk for 2 days because we went up and down, and then we did a 9-mile hike one time, and that wasn't no joke. But those are good because what it does is it activates your brain so that your brain starts to release chemicals so it can figure out what's going on, and that's why it stimulates you. That's why people who do a lot of walking and a lot of swimming are said to be kind of sharper in the brain. So anyway, I don't know why I got off on all of that, but the point being is that we have to focus on taking care of ourselves, okay? And understanding, being a little bit more conscientious of how we're treating ourselves, how we're treating our bodies. So that one meal a day during Ramadan is especially important, because if you go from, we eat, by the time sun goes down like 7:20, 7:22, and you eat something, and then you go to bed and you go all the way until the next evening to eat again or drink again, what it's doing, it's helping you get rid of toxins and impurities, but it's really, and then at the same time, we're infusing it with additional readings of the Quran. We have our prescribed reading every day. So we're infusing it with that. We're infusing it with extra amount of prayer. We're infusing it with not doing things that are contrary to how we're supposed to be living. No gossiping, no backbiting, no cursing, no drugs, no drinking. We shouldn't be doing that stuff anyway, but really being conscious of removing those things from our lives. And so during that time, things get really vivid intuition, vivid visions. People start night traveling, they start dreaming. So I just want to share that for those of you who don't understand why we do it and who don't understand the benefits of it. Many of us are not necessarily always in the Muslim community. And oftentimes people just don't get it. They don't understand. They're like, that's crazy. And why y'all doing that? And that don't make sense. But that's the reason for it. And you can only imagine that with that kind of fast and getting rid of those impurities and infusing your body with those stem cells that you produce naturally when you're fasting, really, really makes this a glorious time and allows you to function at a higher level. And then what I try to do also during this time is really try to focus on my goals and what my next steps in life are and what I'm doing. And so I journal a lot during Ramadan. And so I have notebooks and notebooks of past Ramadans. I got my Ramadan notebook here, and you can see it's just filled with all kind of stuff. And so today I wanted to talk about love, because it's been a topic that I've been studying in connection to the development of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum, studying the history, studying the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being on the run for 7 years. And as the minister says, until he wore out the hypocrites. And I stopped on that part as I was studying, because I was like, whoa, that's powerful. And because we all face, right? We all face, let me say it this way. We all face hypocrites and people who come against us, whether it's externally, people who just got something to say, who just be lying for no reason, who just be judging you for no reason, who in your business for no reason, who always looking at you and got something to say, who try to sabotage whatever it is you're doing, basically haters. But then we got internal hypocrites. We got that internal hypocrite where we lie to ourselves, we lie to other people. We're not honest with ourselves, that hypocrite within. And I thought about how you wear down the hypocrite is you outwork them through consistency, but most importantly, you seek refuge in Allah. Well, if that's how we deal with the hypocrite outside of us, how do we deal with the hypocrite inside of us? Same thing. Prayer, love, seeking refuge in Allah, of course, discipline, sticking to it. If you're working out, if your demon is just your weight or food or overeating, sticking to your diet, wearing out that demon. If your demon is lying, focusing on telling the truth, wear it out. Tell the truth, no matter what. Just keep doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing until you wear out that hypocrite inside of you. See, love, and I've said this before, if you have not heard the radio show that I did on Love is a Superpower, you really got to go check it out. My podcasts they're on Spotify, they're on Apple Music, but you can go to Spotify and type in my name, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and you'll see them. And I think that one's up there. I think they put that one up there. Love is a superpower, because when you hold on to that love, and I'm going to talk about the love of Allah and the messenger and that kind of love, hanging on to that love, and that love being your lifeline is your power that's the antidote against the haters, against the hypocrites, against the people who are going to come against you. Once you let go of that love, listen to this. Once you or me or any of us let go of that love, we open the door and those demons come in like a hyena, like hyenas, like a pack of hyenas. We've seen it throughout history. We've seen it. Once that person lets go of that love, see, no matter what you do, you got to love yourself. You got to love Allah and his messenger. You got to stay there with that love. Whatever happens, don't ever let go of his hand. Never let go of God's hand. Always have hope. I don't care how dark it gets, how sad you feel, how depressed you feel. Find that glimmer of hope. I don't care if you got to look outside and say, these blades of grass give me hope. I don't care if you got to just go and say, well, he's never forsaken me. If you're sad about money, walk around your house, and you all have heard me say this, those who have taken my money psychology courses, walk around your house and look at all the things that you've manifested by the grace of Allah and pull yourself up out of that, but never let go. I don't care how things look. I don't care what somebody say to you about somebody. I don't care what kind of lies they tell you. I don't care what kind of lies they tell on you. Hold on to that love. And see, this is where they get you. See, we all have dreams and goals and desires. And sometimes we have a desire that's so strong that fear creeps up because it's something we want so bad and we're afraid that we're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. And so we get afraid. And so what that devil and that hypocrites does is they slide right in there. And they say, oh, this is what you're afraid about? And they start chipping away and making you feel like it ain't going to happen. Or just talking negative. If you're looking for a man or you trying to get you a wife or whatever, you say, and they'll say, hell, you know, sister, it ain't that many men out here. Or they'll say, well, you know, most of the black men is in jail. They just start chipping away. So you start thinking, this ain't going to never happen. Or they say, brother, you know, most of these sisters are spoiled. Most of these sisters just want to eat fast food and they ain't trying to cook. Most of these sisters don't even want brothers anymore. I'm just using these as example. So they start chipping away. And so when they chip away, they start to introduce other alternatives. And then make you think, well, this thing ain't going to happen. Let me do this. So you abandon your desire out of fear. But when you hold on to Allah and make him the God above all else, you can always go back to that, because when you make your desire or that thing you want your God, then it becomes easy for people to tear it down. And then what happens after they tear it down? You've lost your love. You've lost your connection to Allah, to the source, to the creator. So now you're just out here flailing around, doing whatever it is that's suggested to you on the news, in social media, on television. You have no anchor. You let go of the firm handle. Let me read to you something from the Holy Quran, Surah 45, ayat 23. It says, seest thou him who takes his desire for his God, and Allah leaves him in error, knowingly, and seals his hearing and his heart, and puts a covering on his sight. Who can then guide him after Allah? Will you not then mind? Look at this. Allah is saying, see him, look at him or her who takes his desire as a God. So he's telling you, watch it, look at it. And Allah leaves him in error. So when you decide that you're going to leave Allah as the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, as your God, as your vicegerent in your life, when you decide you're going to leave that, Allah will leave you in error and seal your hearing. This is what I'm talking about, because now you can't hear the word of God. You can't hear the revelation from God. You can't go to God and hear what he wants you to do, but you can daggone sure hear what the hypocrite, what the devil, and what the demon is saying to you. Go ahead and take a drink. Go ahead and smoke them cigarettes. Go ahead and do what it is that you know you ain't supposed to be doing. Go ahead and do it. Because they're using technology. And you can't hear past the technology because you've cut yourself off from your creator. So you're watching TV and you say, that's a cute outfit. Next thing you know, your hem is raising, your clothes are getting tighter. It's suggestion. You don't even have the creativity to look good in your own style or fashion. You just start looking on television and say, oh, I like that, and I'm going to get it. See, that television is that demon. So then Allah takes away your hearing. That's not hearing when we're talking about listening to the media, social media, the hypocrites, the demons, the devil. That's not hearing. Real hearing is hearing messages and revelation from Almighty God Allah. That's hearing. And then he says he seals his heart. So if you turn your back on Allah, then there's a seal. And what happens? You don't love anymore. You don't care what God says anymore. You might say out of your mouth you care, but you really don't, because you do something different. We really don't, because we may do something different. So the love of Allah has to be first and foremost and paramount in our lives, because that's going to protect us against the hypocrites and those that are plotting against us. You don't want their voice to become louder than Allah's voice in your life. See, this is why I think I have it on one of the videos. Hate speaks loud. Fear speaks loudly. Hypocrisy speaks loudly. But then love is whispering. Why is love whispering? Love is whispering because our connection with God is not strong enough so that we move away from our fear. I'm sorry, I just seen this huge deer just walk past my window. So two of them, as a matter of fact. Okay. They're like, what's going on up in there? Alrighty then. Okay. Anyway, that fear becomes so loud. And we start to nurture it because we talk about it all the time. We're afraid of something, and so we talk about it. We look at TV channels about it. We watch movies about it. We talk to our friends about it. It becomes a doctrine in our lives. We create rules around what we're afraid of in our lives. Now that fear becomes a God that we now worship. Forget worshiping our desires, but now the fear becomes the God. And so our hearing gets sealed, our hearts get sealed. There's covering on our sight. We can't see. You ever try to tell somebody the truth when they're deep in their fear and deep in their emotions and they just can't see it? They just can't hear it because that demon has become a God. That's the trail when we make our desires a God above Allah. It's polytheism. And so on a practical level, we have to make sure that we're always grateful. Everybody should have a gratitude journal. You should have some way in which every single day you have a conversation with yourself and with Allah about what you're grateful for. And if you don't have a journal, if you're not really into writing and you can't do it, then take some time. Go for a walk and be thankful for everything you see. And as you're moving past things that you're grateful for, think about things in your life that you're grateful for. Think about it. Y'all quiet in the chat today. Give me some feedback. Let me know if you hear me. Did I go blank? Because y'all must be thinking today. Because there's a lot of talk about moving towards our goals. And I know I talk about it a lot too, moving towards our goal, figuring out who we want, what is our authentic self? What are we trying to do with our life? What do we show up on the planet to do? All of that's real and all of that's perfect. But that can't become a God besides Allah. We have to be able to hear, to see, and we close ourselves off. See, we read these things oftentimes, and we see it saying, talking about taking our desires as a God, but we don't really know what that means. We read about people who turn hypocrite and people who go away, but we don't know what is that process? What is that process like? The process begins with turning away from Allah Himself. That means that whatever you see and whatever you saw or whatever somebody said to you chipped away at your love, not chipped away at your religion, chipped away at your love and your connection to Allah Himself. It chipped away at it. See, you got to know, like you know, like you know. And this is a way that you can really ground yourself. As we're sitting here in deep thought, I don't think anybody's thinking, let me make sure my blood is flowing. Let me make sure my heart is pumping. Let me make sure my nerves is in the right space. Nobody's really saying that, but that's happening. That's happening without you knowing. So just as confident as you are in the fact that you're going to be able to take your next breath, that's why in meditation they teach you about focusing on the breath. So just as confident as you are that you're going to be able to take that next breath, you should be just that confident and secure in your love for Almighty God Allah. Just that confident and secure. See, when the demons and the hypocrites, whether it's the hypocrite within or the hypocrite without, the haters, when they creep in, our production starts to reduce. Our love starts to reduce. We go through the motions, but it ain't really there because they done crept in and made themselves. They done took over and took charge. I found it interesting. I was reading something the other day, and they were saying how there were a group of people around Malcolm X who was saying to him, well, you should do this and you should do that. I don't want to go into the detail during this, and he said, I'm a dead man already. And I was like, wow, that was powerful. I don't know why he said that, but I can imagine that he probably realized, which is indicative when you read his apology letter to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that he realized that he messed up, that he had turned away from Allah and his messenger. He let go of the love, but look at what happened. If there's that ring of demons and hypocrites within us and outside of us surrounding us, when we let go of what is kind of the proverbial ring of fire around us, so like in his case, his connection and his love for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Allah, Master Prophet Muhammad, was his ring of fire around him. When he distinguished that by letting go of the love, them demons and hypocrites came in like a pack of wild hyenas. They surrounded him and gripped him and took over. There was nothing he could do. And he said, I'm a dead man already. So that's why in that motivational tape at the beginning that we played, when Les Brown talked about when we have those gaps in our lives, we fill it with garbage. And that garbage comes in. Those hyenas come in and they take over our lives. And it almost requires some kind of spiritual death, or we may even physically die ourselves, because the demons just get so big. They just keep growing because we keep feeding them. We keep letting them get bigger and bigger and bigger. And at the same time, we're this shell. We think we're the same. We dress in a certain way. We're looking a certain way. But that demon is huge. And he's bigger than the God within. And we don't even stop to think, let me cry out to Allah anymore, because we feel like I'm dead already. It's a lost cause. So holding on to that love, holding on no matter what. I don't care how rock bottom you get. Hold on. Hold on. I don't care if you make a mistake tomorrow. I don't care if you make a mistake later today and accidentally curse at somebody. You better come on back to Allah. Come back and get back no matter what. If you leave the fold, get back. Get back to Allah. Get back. Ask Allah, how can I get back? And come back. Plead to him to help you get back. Don't give up and say, oh, I'm dead already. See, because that demon starts to, it's like the minister talks about the spider. And if you go to the surah, the spider, and if you even study how spiders work, they create a web in the darkest hour of the night. And in the darkest hour of the night, usually that's why when you wake up, you see the spider web, because they created at the darkest hour of the night. But the spider can't see. He can only feel and sense. So when a fly or something hits the web, he senses it and he rushes to it. And science says that the fly, if you will, has 3 seconds to get up out of the web before it will be killed. So when the spider comes down on the fly, he takes his needle, the stinger, puts it inside of him and injects enzymes. And those enzymes erode the internal organs of the spider. That's why when you see a little bug or something that's in the spider web, it's real light. It's just the shell. And it sucks it out. So think about that. When we do something, if that little bug, that little fly has 3 seconds to get up out that web before the spider sticks its needle in it, we got to get up out of whatever we're in. You got to move quickly. If you know you lying, you got to get up out of that lying. If you know you smoking and drinking, you got to get up out of that as quickly as you can before that demon sucks everything up out of you and you're just a shell. You're not even a human or a person. That can happen to us as Muslims, as Christians. We will walk around here and we look good, but on the inside, we're nothing. It's gone. Our insides are gone. We're just zombies walking around because that demon done sat on us and put that stinger in us. What's the proverbial stinger? Could be gossip, could be dropping something on you. Could just, most of the time that's how it comes, because it has to take away what? Your hearing and your seeing. As the Holy Quran teaches us. So these are things that we want to work on during this Ramadan season. Work on moving past our demons. How do we do that? You don't do it by focusing on the demon. So if you know you got a fear, don't sit up and talk about it and focus on it all day long. Because what happens? What you focus on expands. You have to introduce some other thoughts, some other behaviors, something that is contrary to that demon so that that becomes louder than the voice of that demon. You want to enhance your hearing. Well, Ramadan is a great time to do that by praying, by fasting, by listening to the word of God, by focusing on the word of God, by focusing on behaviors that you know you shouldn't be doing and you shouldn't be practicing in, but you want to focus on what you should be doing. You want to focus on what's right and what you're supposed to be doing. Focus on that and not on what you're doing that ain't right. Try your best not to create rules around your fears, behaviors around your fears, because that'll paralyze you. You'll be like the fly stuck in the spider's web and you can't get out. And then once it sucks the insides up out of you and injects the enzyme, what's interesting about that spider is that he injects something that eats away at your insides. Just like the hypocrite injects something that eats away at your faith, that eats away at your love. You watch TV and it suggests something that eats away at your morality, eats away at who you are. Once it eats away at who you are, how you get back? See, unlike the fly that's in the trap, we always got Allah. The fly might not be able to call on Allah and say, Allah, this spider is on my neck and he's sucking the life up out of me. The spider is like, I'm just a dead man. But we always got Allah that we can call on, who never forsakes us. You might be looking in the mirror saying, Allah, I'm 350 pounds. And I did not mean to be 350 pounds. This demon inside of me, something been sucking on me. I know I'm supposed to be working out. I know I'm supposed to be eating right, but I get depressed. I get emotional and I eat and I didn't mean it. But we always can call on Allah and he will always answer. That's the difference. That is the difference. We can always go back to our nature. And what is our true self? Is one who submits to the will of God or the will of Allah. See, we're all Muslims. Whether we're Christians or Muslim is just a manifestation of an action. It's just submitting to the will of God. Allah, what you want me to do? Okay, I'm getting ready to do it. Whether you do that in the methodology of Christianity or in the methodology of Jehovah's Witness, however you do it, you still are in submission. You're still seeking refuge in Allah, which makes you still a Muslim. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about something a little further next week, because I was thinking about the difference between a disbeliever and an unbeliever. That's a little bit next week. But I just want us to focus on that, because sometimes we lose the practicality of our religion, or sometimes we get so pious and we're speaking in Arabic or Hebrew, and we got all these, you got the Bible, you got the Holy Quran, you got all this stuff that can be intimidating. And so you may not really, you got the prayers and how you're supposed to pray and how you're supposed to do your rakats. Some of us really get intimidated by that. And so I want us to telescope out a little bit and say, well, wait a minute. What do I do about this demon that I'm wrestling with right now that got its needle and venom in my neck? And that demon can be a person who is befriending you, who is injecting contrary thoughts and hypocrisy right up in your brain. Could be that. It could be drugs. It could be food. It could be sugar. That sugar is the devil. I started saying that when I started working in the vascular surgery world, because 90% of the problems that people will come in when they have circulation problems is either smoking or sugar. 90%. Glucose begins with the root word glue. So it's literally gluing your vessels closed and together. So you want to watch that. So if that's your drug, you got to be careful. You got to monitor it, because it takes a little time. And over time, it's gonna kill you. It's not just gonna sometimes it doesn't manifest the way we may think it does. But it's usually those two things, smoking and the glue that we eat, which is the glucose or the sugar. There's a certain amount of healthy sugar that obviously we need, but anyway, I don't want to go into that. But listen, don't make your desires a God besides Allah. And focus on your love and stay steadfast. The firm handle of Allah and his messenger, stay there. Stay with that love. Hold on to it, because if you get in that web and that spider gets a hold of you and starts injecting their venom in you and sucking the insides up out of you, you're going to be in trouble. Now, Allah is always there, but you're going to have to work to get yourself up out of that web. Don't give him a victory. Don't give him a victory, no matter what happens. I don't care if somebody makes you mad when you go to church tomorrow. I don't care if somebody makes you mad when you go to the mosque tomorrow. I don't care if it's somebody you don't like that you got to work with. I don't care if your boss is mean. No matter what, know that you are a child of God, and there ain't nothing that they can do to you that's going to take away God's favor on you. There ain't nothing you can do. The table's already been prepared. So don't you flip over the table and move away from the table, because God set the table. He gave it to you. He let you walk in those valleys. And you don't have to fear no evil. But don't you throw the table away and flip over everything on the table that he's given to you just because you done got impacted and sucked on by a bad boss, a bad officer in the mosque, a bad deacon at the church. There ain't nothing they can do to take away your favor. God decided when he brought you here that he has something he wanted to say, and that expression looked like you. He got something he want to say. He got something that he want to do. And that's something that he wants to say, and that's something that he wants to do is so unique that it looks like you. You're not a mistake. I don't care how bad things get. I don't care if the dollar falls. I don't care what happens. People done lived through depression and the fall of the dollar, and this ain't nothing new. I know one thing, Black people have always survived and thrived. And keep your mind there. You're going to make it. You're going to be okay. Let me say this to you. God knew when he brought you into this world in this day and time that the dollar was going to fall. He didn't say, let me bring you here and the dollar going to fall and then you're going to fall. He said, no, I'm going to bring you here. All this stuff going to happen around you, but you are me. You are my child. You are my servant. And you have the ability to supersede this and be an example. So stay open. Don't let the fear get to you. Don't buy into all of this. Yes, it's happening. Yes, you pay attention so you know how to move. But most importantly, you hang on to your love, to the one that has power over it all. And stay in close communication. Stay close to him like your jugular vein. And he will tell you what to do. He will tell you how to move. And don't make up and say he told me this or that, because you really just trying to avoid your fears. Be honest with yourself. That happens too, right? We're afraid of something. We say, oh, shoot, God told me not to do that. I don't know. No, that's your fear talking. So that's the other piece of it. When you focus on your gratitude and go back in history and look at how Allah has moved you throughout your life and how he's blessed you and how many times you should have been dead and how you ain't supposed to be here. When you go through all of that, you can hear him a little bit better. So when that fear starts talking and the devil likes to mimic God and that fear sound like God, and then you come out and say, well, God told me, no, that was the fear posing as God. All right, I'm gonna get off of it, y'all. I see y'all in here. talking and chatting. Y'all got y'all commemorative Elijah coins? Did you make your donation yet? Brother Robert 11 next says, so on point. Praise be to Allah. You're welcome, sir. Brother Lamont said, demon is on your back. That's right. Sister April said, I do too, sis. I've learned to have compassion with myself regarding my weight. That's right. Ramadan Kareem. Peace and blessings, everybody. I see y'all comments. All praises due to Allah. Thank you for all these wonderful, wonderful comments. I see y'all in deep thought. See y'all with the bullseyes. Praise be to Allah. Make sure y'all get y'all commemorative Elijah coin. I was on the Spiritual Injection podcast this week, and we talked about holding your commodities in collectible forms. And look at what Allah blessed us to put together 4 years ago. Commemorative Elijah coins made of 100% copper from his home. And now all over the internet, they're telling you, get your gold, get your silver, get your copper in collectible forms. But I tell you that when you listen to Allah, you will be so on point that people will not even believe it. People will ignore you because you're so right. And you just got to keep going. But look at this. I listen to all these financial analysts, and I cannot tell you how many of them, I know the sound of it now because I hear them when they're reaching for it. And I said, oh, here we go. Look at this. And we got one with the messenger's face on it, 24 stars around it. The most sacred piece of property in modern Black history on the back says he lives. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. He lives. Get your commemorative Elijah coin. Go to sajdahhouse.com. You can use the discount code Ramadan23 to get 10% off. Make a donation, sajdahhousedonations.com. Just because it's Ramadan and Savior's Day is over, y'all don't have to go to sleep. You don't have to do that. We got Cash App, $Mo today, MOETODAY. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and share this with somebody else. And join the mailing list. If you look on the bottom, you'll see how you can join the mailing list. Just text Do For Self, DO 4 SELF to 855-574-9099. And lastly, add the Mind of an Entrepreneur to your Roku TV lineup. Peace and blessings, family. I thank you all for your support, for your love, and I pray that you get something out of what we share with you every Saturday morning. So tune in Thursday for the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. I'm not sure who the guest is, but y'all know how we do. And like and subscribe. Go back and check out past episodes, and we'll go from there. All right, but listen. Stay focused. Stay steadfast and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Saturday. Peace and blessings, family.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.